Which is better, the Samsung Galaxy A21 or the Samsung Galaxy A20? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A21 and the Samsung Galaxy A20. Now, the Galaxy A21 was recently launched in June of 2020, whereas the A20 was launched about a year ago. So the A21 is the successor to this device. And in this video, I'm looking forward to going over everything that is new and different so that you can decide which phone is the better value for you. Now, of course, at this point, a year later, you can pick up a Galaxy A20 for a lot cheaper than an A21. Whether you decide to get it new or used, there's a ton of different options out there. Now, I will be linking both devices in the video description so that you can check and see the most up-to-date pricing for both phones, as I'm sure that's going to be changing over time. In addition to that, both of these devices are offered by a variety of different carriers, so they might be offering their own promotions. Now, the Samsung Galaxy A21 features a 6.5-inch display, whereas the Samsung Galaxy A20 has a slightly smaller 6.4-inch display. So when holding the two bases of the devices at the same level, you can definitely see here that the A21 is the larger phone of the two. There are also some other differences involving the displays as well. Now, with the A21, we're getting an IPS LCD display, but with the A20, we're getting a Super AMOLED display. So it's really surprising that Samsung has decided to take a step back and downgrade the display from the A20 to the A21. Now, with that being said, the A21 still does have a good looking display. It's not like it's bad or anything, but definitely with the A20, things are a lot brighter, the viewing angles are better as well, and those are all the benefits that come along with Super AMOLED. Now, beyond that, both devices are 720p, and even though they are 720p, things still do look decently crisp and clear, especially for devices in this price range. So it's not necessarily a deal breaker that neither of the two are 1080p. Now, with the A21, we're getting a PPI of 270 compared to a PPI of 268 with the A20. And with the A21, we're getting a 20:9 aspect ratio compared to a 19.5:9 aspect ratio with the A20. So the A21 does have a little bit more of a slimmer but taller form factor. And then finally, with the A21, we're getting a 79.3% screen-to-body ratio compared to an 85% screen-to-body ratio with the A20. So one big difference up top here is that with the A21, we are getting a hole punch for the front-facing camera compared to a water drop notch with the A20. And then down towards the bottom, we're actually getting a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel from the looks of it with the A21 compared to the A20. Now, not too different there, but it does seem like in general, the bezels are a bit larger with the A21. But with that being said, I personally do prefer to have the hole punch compared to the notch. I'm a bigger fan of this design in general, but you can't deny that the bezels are a bit bigger overall with the A21. So that's pretty surprising. Now with the A21, we're getting a 13 megapixel front-facing camera compared to an 8 megapixel front-facing camera with the A20. Now, both phones feature 32 gigabytes of internal storage, and they both also feature microSD card expansion. And neither of the two phones have wireless charging, but they both have fingerprint sensors on the back. So we'll give that a try with the A21 first. So very fast there. We'll give the A20 a try next. Very fast as well. So the fingerprint sensors are very quick with both phones. In addition to that, we are getting face unlock with both devices as well. And that's actually something that's becoming more and more rare in 2020, especially with devices in this price range. So I'm glad that Samsung has decided to keep face unlock because I think in general, it does make life a bit easier for everybody. Now, taking a look at the cameras on the back, there are some pretty big differences here. So with the Samsung Galaxy A21, we are getting a quad camera setup compared to a dual camera setup with the A20. Now, despite the A21 being quad camera, we're actually not gaining too many abilities. So we have a 16 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. Now the macro camera does allow you to take very close up pictures. So for some people that's a bit of a gimmick. For other people that can be useful. For me personally, I'm kind of neutral with it. I don't mind getting the macro camera, but on the other hand, I could completely live without it. And with the A20, we have a 13 megapixel main camera and a 5 megapixel secondary camera. Now that secondary camera serves as both the depth sensing camera and the ultra wide angle camera. So essentially it's combining two abilities in one. So really, like I said, the only benefit that you're getting with the A21 beyond better sensors is that you're getting the macro camera. So here's how things look with the front-facing cameras on both devices. Definitely make sure to refer to my full reviews of both phones to get a better idea of the photo and video quality. But we can also switch to a wider field of view with both phones, which is great if you want to take a group selfie, for example. And then we'll switch over to the rear camera. And here's how things look through the main camera on both devices. And then we'll switch to the ultra wide angle cameras. And you can see both phones do fit quite a bit of additional content in the frame. Now it does seem like the A20 is a bit wider compared to the A21, but on the other hand, you are getting a higher megapixel count with the front-facing camera with the A21. So in general, I would say that you are going to be getting better cameras with the A21 compared to the A20, but the A20 does still give you a lot of those same abilities, such as the ability to take ultra-wide-angle photos in the first place. Also with both phones, we're getting portrait mode with both the rear and front cameras, so that's awesome. Now internally, we're getting 3 gigabytes of RAM with both phones, and with the Samsung Galaxy A21, we're getting the MediaTek Helio P35, and with the Samsung Galaxy A20, we're getting the Samsung Exynos 7884 processor. So I did run benchmark tests with both phones, and we'll check out the scores right now. And we'll let this load up here. And you can see with the A21, I got an overall score of 104,432. And with the A20, I got a score of 119,222. So that's a bit wild there that the A20 has a decently higher score compared to the A21. Also a bit disappointing, to be honest. But in a little bit later in the video, I will be doing a side-by-side speed test comparison with these two phones. Now video recording with both phones maxes out at 1080p. They both feature beefy 4,000 milliamp hour internal batteries, and they both support 15 watt fast charging. Both devices run Samsung's user interface here. Now my specific Galaxy A20 that I have right here has not been updated yet to Android 10, and we are getting Android 10 with the A21. But I'm pretty sure that we'll be getting that Android 10 update very shortly for all of the A20s out there, and I believe some have already gotten the update. But now that we've gone over the specifications of these two phones, let's take a closer look at the hardware. So first thing is, I already talked about this, but a big difference with these two phones is that with the A21, we're getting a slightly larger display with a hole punch for the front-facing camera compared to a notch with the A20. And then taking a look at the left side of both devices, they're both very similar, as they both have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Both phones do feature an all-plastic build besides the front panel. Taking a look at the right side of the two phones, they both have the volume button and they have the power button. Then on the top, they both have the noise-canceling microphone. Now, one difference with the A21, by the way, is that the band running around the phone has a matte finish, whereas it's a reflective finish with the A20. And then taking a look at the bottom of the two phones, they both also have a very similar setup with the speaker, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. And then on the back of the two phones, they also look very similar, whereas they both have a reflective material, they both have the camera module, flash, and fingerprint sensor. Let's now do a speed test comparison between these two phones. So we're going to start by pulling up the camera apps. So 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the A21 was slightly faster, kind of a tie though, with both devices. Let's now go to Google Chrome. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like about a tie with both phones as well. Now you can see with this side by side here, for example, how much brighter the A20 is Now again, both phones have their brightness at 100%. And when you're just looking at the A21 by itself, with no other phone to compare it to, the display does look bright. It's not like it doesn't look bright. But when you do put it up next to an AMOLED device like the A20, that's really where you can really tell the benefits with that display technology. But let's now go to yahoo.com. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like it was pretty close. The A21 is slightly quicker at pulling up Yahoo. Let's now go to engadget.com in both phones. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like in this test, the A20 was quicker at pulling up Engadget. You can also see in this side-by-side, the A21 does fit a little bit more content into the frame there, as you can see a little bit more of that photo. Now scrolling with both phones is pretty smooth as well, so that's great. Let's now go to this article. 1, 2, 3, go. And it looks like the phones are about a tie here. Maybe the A20 is a little bit quicker. I don't even know why this photo is taking so long to load. Okay, and it looks like the A20 was quicker at pulling up the photo. So in conclusion, which phone of these two is the better choice for you? Well, I'm actually very surprised to see that the A21 doesn't really offer us with too many benefits over the A20. At the very least, I would have hoped and would have imagined that we would have at least gotten more internal storage, but unfortunately, at least this variant of the A21 has exactly the same amount of internal storage as the A20 at 32 gigabytes. And then beyond that, it doesn't really seem like we're getting any sort of improvement with the processor, especially since the real-life speed test performance was about the same and the benchmark test was higher with the A20. So it does seem like the Exynos 7884 is either the same or better than the MediaTek Helio P35. And the display with the A20 is certainly better than the A21. That is 100% for sure. And really the only benefit that I could think of with the A21, or maybe the only two benefits, is that we're getting a hole punch for the front-facing camera, but that's really just a personal preference of mine. And you could argue that you're also going to be getting better camera quality because we are getting a higher megapixel count. But in general, the A20 still does take very good pictures, and you're still able to take both ultra-wide and normal photos. So it's not like we're really gaining too many abilities either with the A21's cameras. I'm pretty surprised here. I mean, I think definitely one of the highlights of the A20 is that it does feature an AMOLED display. So it is very disappointing to see that the A21 did not at least carry over that feature. Now, thankfully, there are other new devices that have come out by Samsung in 2020 that feature an AMOLED display. So for example, the Samsung Galaxy A31 has AMOLED. So if you really do want a phone that is an upgrade from the A20, then definitely take a look at the A31 or even consider going for the A51. And I think realistically, what's going to end up happening, and the reason why the A21 is pretty much the same, if not worse in some ways than the A20, is because the A20 will get discontinued, and then the carriers will promote the A21, and they'll offer this phone at very solid deals. So most likely this phone will still sell very well, and many people will either get it for free or close to free. So Samsung is really in a win-win situation, and the A21 is still a solid device. I still like it, but when you do put it up against the A20, there isn't really much new here, and certainly not much here that is an upgrade. So I hope you found this video to be helpful and informative. Again, if you just got an A21, then don't let this video hurt your feelings because I still think it's a good phone. I'm just saying, compared to the A20, you're not getting much new here, but it's still a good choice. So I hope that's clear, because definitely compared to other devices out there, the A21 is still super solid. It's not like they really downgraded it or anything from the A20. It's just that I feel like they could have given us a little bit more at the A21 than they ended up giving us. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Give me more requests for other videos to make here on the channel as well, because I am ready to make a lot of content about the A21. Can't wait for it. But my name is Kevin. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.